Hi folks, welcome back. Thank you for watching. Please do hit subscribe if you haven't done so yet. It really does help when you do that. So today folks, I've got a super cool amplifier to show you, and possibly the eBay bargain of the century. Now, as regulars to this channel will know, I've got a couple of amps here that are basically kit amps that other people have bought, built up and then sold online. And I've had some really good luck buying those sorts of amps on eBay, especially my Vajra JTM45 clone, which is by far and away my favourite amplifier of any price point I've ever played. It's just beyond stunning. And I've also got my 18 watt Marshall clone that I showed you a month or two back, which sounds very cool as well. And I now have a third weird clone to add to my collection. So what in the world is this thing? Well, when I saw this be listed on eBay, I genuinely thought the seller had made a typo, because it said in the listing it was based on the classic Marshall 20 watt circuit. So I thought they mean the 18 watt circuit. Turns out they didn't. Marshall made a 20 watt plexi from 1968 to 1973 that I'd never even heard of. It was called the Lead and Bass 20, otherwise known as the 2061 model number. And it's a very close relative of the 18 watt amp, but it's definitely its own thing. Now, it never sold in any great number and it was discontinued after just a few years. Marshall did reissue that amp in the early 2000s, so since then it's become slightly better known than it once was, but it's still very much under the radar. It's not the 1959 Super Lead or the JTM45. Not too many people have heard of the Lead and Bass 20. So I jumped on this amp and I managed to score this head, which I should say is meticulously point-to-point hand-wired using premium quality components, for just over £100, 104 to be precise. And if you think about what you can buy in Amp World for £104, both new and used, if you're going with a brand, mainstream or especially boutique, you won't get anywhere near an amp of this quality for that price by a factor of 15 or 20. It's a stunningly built amp, it sounds amazing, and you can get these sorts of amp on eBay for absolute pennies in the grand scheme of amplifiers. Now, the Lead and Bass 20 has two sides to it. On the left-hand side, you have the lead side. And today, that's where I'm going to spend 90% of my time, because that's the channel that sounds like a cranked plexi. It's utterly unbelievable, so wait until you hear this thing. The bass side, it has a lot less gain than the lead side, and even with the tone all the way up, it still sounds fairly muffled. So I will show you what that sounds like briefly, but to me, the lead side of this amp is where the excitement happens. But towards the end, I will do what you can do with any 4-input amp and jump the two channels together, because then you can get the lead side absolutely screaming and blend the bass side in underneath for some extra thickness and a touch more gain. And the amp just becomes super thick and harmonically rich. It can sound beautiful when you do that. So I'll do that towards the end, but I'm primarily going to live on the lead channel today. And on that channel, the tone control is really interesting, because when you turn it all the way down, it sounds really muffled, as you would expect. Turn it up, it starts to sound brighter. No surprises there. But in the top 15% of its travel, it kind of implodes on itself and it acts like a second gain control. It just lets everything through and it really boosts the gain. So to me, this amp on the lead channel, if you have the tone pretty much all the way up, that's where it sounds at its best. So I'm going to use that today to really fine tune the amount of gain, and I'm going to run the tone quite a way up for most of the excerpts of playing, because it really does add so much to the sound of this amp. Now, as I've said before, when you're buying other people's kit builds on eBay, you should really do two different things. Firstly, take it to a qualified amp tech to check it over for safety, because a lot of these sorts of amps have been built by expert amp builders meticulously. Other kit amps that you can buy on eBay might have been built by the likes of me, and I would not trust an amp that I'd had anything to do with as far as I could throw the thing. Now, I haven't done that yet. I have checked it all with a multimeter. Nothing is live, so it's not going to kill me, but I haven't taken it to an amp tech to check for its safety yet. But also, when you are buying a kit amp, there's no guarantees that it's been built to spec. So as far as I know, this is a Marshall 2061, but I haven't been through the circuit because I'm useless at deciphering circuit diagrams to check whether it's actually been built properly or not. So in a couple of months, I will take this to my local amp tech and find out exactly what's in it in terms of how it's been built. But for now, I think this is a Marshall 2061 circuit, but I couldn't swear to it. So that will all be kind of investigated in the near future. But for now, it's safe and it sounds incredible. So today I'm going to plug a variety of different guitars into this thing. I might throw a pedal or two on just for a bit of fun. I'm going to live on the lead channel and just crank this thing up nice and loud. It can do clean sounds. I'll show you a few of those, but primarily I'm just going to crank this thing so it's really crunching because it sounds phenomenal. So without further ado, folks, here we go. there we are, folks. Now, please do comment underneath. Let me know what you thought of this amp today. I love chatting nerdy guitar stuff with you folks down in the comments section. Now, there are some astonishing tones in this amp, aren't there? And last month, I made the video with my 18-watt clone, looking into whether it really was a baby blues breaker as it was originally marketed, by comparing it to my JTM 45. And those two amps did sound pretty different when they were really cranked. I would say this sounds so much closer to my JTM 45. It has that sort of snarly, cranked plexi thing going on. Now, as I said in the intro, I managed to get this on eBay for just over £100. And if you think about what else you can buy, let's stick with Marshall, because it is a Marshall circuit. If you're buying new, you can kind of get one of those 15-watt transistor practice amp things. If you're buying used, if you can find the right deal, you might just about be able to scrape a valve state amp, one which is predominantly solid state, but it has a 12 AX7 preamp tube in there as well, but it's mainly a solid state amp. You would not ever get anywhere near a hand-wired plexi with premium components for 10 times that, if not more, if you were sticking with Marshall or any other brand. So if you're looking around on eBay and you see kit amps that are hand-wired using great quality components, you can get some outstanding deals, and this really is the case in point of that. This sounds beautiful when you crank it up. It's still way beyond bedroom volume, don't get me wrong, but it gives you the kind of cranked 1959 Super Lead sound at slightly more civilian volumes. You can record it really well using sensitive mics, and it just has that thing going on. It takes pedals really well, it has a real nice definition to it, but all that kind of sizzle that you want from a JMP type amplifier when you crank it up. It is wonderful. But those are just my thoughts, folks. I know I'm fizzy having got a very sort of good deal on eBay, but please do let me know your opinions down in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys on all this sort of stuff. So thank you for watching, folks. I hope this video was interesting and useful for you. Please do carry on subscribing. I know I always say it, but it makes a huge difference when you hit subscribe, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye-bye.